From the Washington Post, Trump's classified documents case dismissed by Judge Eileen Cannon. Special counsel Jack Smith says he will appeal the judge's ruling that he was improperly appointed. Trump won.
The rich get richer. There's so many things lining up. Obviously, the assassination not lining up, but politically, the past month or so has been unbelievable for Donald Trump.
I'm getting tired of winning.
Really wild, yeah.
Between the debate performance, obviously the surviving the assassination attempt defiantly in the fashion that he did.
With resolve and hope and optimism and for the American people.
I feel like we didn't linger and talk enough about how you couldn't have written it better when he came back up, was willing to yell fight, not scared, pumping his fist.
Yeah, if Hollywood was honest, there'd be a film in the making already.
And now that they came for the king with so many different shots and none have hit, and metaphorically,
Teflon Don.
You know what's fascinating is you guys watch The Boys?
I have been watching that show. So I am enjoying it. I watch it with my kids.
Is that the sequel to Girls? Because
no, it's a superhero show, but
it's fascinating.
It's supposed to be a parody of superheroes, so they're just making fun of superheroes. Homelander is supposed to be Superman, and initially he wasn't Trump, but now after into season 3, they decided to make it Trump versus Hillary or something. And so they're all just allusions to modern American politics. They outright say things like QAnon and make references to it. And they have rallies. But Homelander is supposed to be Trump. And the way they depict him in this show is this evil, narcissistic guy with mommy issues.
Crashing planes full of people.
Yeah, right. And then lying about it and saying, but evil, running a corporation. And they would have loved if when Donald Trump got shot, he panicked, crawled on the ground, stumbled down the stairs, and ran shaking in a random direction. Instead, as the Secret Service is trying to pull him away, he resists, raises his fist, and yells, "Fight, fight, fight."
Oh, it was great.
Has anyone seen the movie Dead Zone with Christopher Walken?
No. Dead Zone. How old is that movie?
Oh, it's old as Methuselah. Yeah. But that's how they got rid of Charlie Sheen's. Is it Charlie Sheen's dad? What's his name?
Martin Sheen.
And I don't want to ruin the movie for everybody.
You mean President Bartlett?
That's true. So true.
Well, so in that movie, spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen it. It's a great movie, but it's a plotted assassination against a politician. The guy takes out a gun, and the politician picks up a baby and uses it as a shield. And then a literal baby, and he didn't even have to get killed. It was the point. His career was done after that, and the guy who could see the future, Christopher Walken, dies knowing that he foiled World War III. Trump's response, it makes me want to cry. It's absolute. It's art, but it's real life. This is a man. He just took a bullet, and he gets up and says, "Forget the shoes. The shoes. I was actually worried he might have hit his head, and he's a little discombobulated. When people get hit in the head, they get a little." Defensive.
I think he wanted to walk off that stage like a man.
Yeah.
Wearing his shoes.
He says, wait, and puts up his fist with blood dripping from his...
For the crowd. That was for us. That was for the Americans.
And I don't want to say imagine if it was another politician, but you can imagine someone saying, get me out of here and cover me, you a-holes.
To resist your own Secret Service who are like, we are leaving the stage, and he's like, no, and they can't make him, right? He is doing something, he's in the middle of something. And that's the thing about Donald Trump. He has such a strong will. There's a reason that we say that there was a different response to him on the geopolitical stage.
But it was the selflessness of the act that he might, in theory, still have been at risk. And he's like, screw this, I'm fighting for the country. And I'll tell you this, if anybody didn't like Donald Trump before that and still doesn't like him now, you're an idiot.
When I saw it, this is what I thought. If Donald Trump can take a bullet for you, you can take the time to go and vote for him. I hope people do. I hope that, as Franklin said, the Trump supporter has now become the Trump voter, guaranteed. I hope so.
I think that's true. I also think that this is a wake-up call for independence, right? I mean, this is not a thing that you can just be on the fence about anymore. And I think as the days play out, as you see the contrasting administration and the responses, it is something that you can't really say, this didn't have an effect on me. I didn't feel anything. I didn't look at Donald Trump with blood on his face, standing up and as this crowd chants USA, USA, and think, I'm just not going to go to the polls. Like, everyone had a reaction to this.
I know we've been ragging on the Secret Service a lot, and a lot of people have been saying like, "Oh, DEI," and they've been infiltrated by this ideology. But we need to be thankful that there are actually women's Secret Service allowing for that photo to look so iconic, with him not being covered by these 6'6" men. He was like, he was overshadowing this small female officer, like barely coming up to his waist, like holding on to him. So
he
we
dragged
have
her
to
off
thank,
the stage.
we have to thank the Secret Service, the DEI.
But just to go back to the topic at hand, Donald Trump's victory in the classified documents case. Now, there is a suggestion that they could bring the charges back, but the lawfare that they are waging against Trump, when the view the Washington Post has of this, okay, that Trump's argument succeeded, that Jack Smith was improperly appointed, an argument that many people made a while ago. Mm-hmm. They're framing it as though it shouldn't have happened. It's an odd thing. The judge shouldn't have done this. When we look at what they did to Trump in New York, they created a new law that would allow someone to sue Donald Trump for sexual impropriety. That's how he got there. They accused him of civil fraud, even though his lender said he didn't defraud us. He gave us the warnings outright, and we like doing business with him. They go after him. All of that is abnormal. We call it out. They say we're lying. We're conspiracy theorists. When Donald Trump actually succeeds and the judge says he's right, this guy was improperly appointed, the media's like, well, that's strange. That shouldn't happen. And it'll probably the charges will probably come back anyway.
Mm-hmm. It's funny how they'll come back. They already know.
Well, it's an amazing thing. It might be too late to make this trend, but it's White Pill Monday. And this is just the third in the hat trick, J.D. Vance, but the one being he survived by a millimeter. The corruption is catching up with them in real time because all of this was corrupt from day one. And E. Jean Carroll lobbying to change that law so that she could sue within the window of opportunity. And she is she's guana crazy, that woman, and got away with it in a corrupt political system. The other New York case where Judge Marshall now has to suspend sentencing, if any, because they have to go back and revisit it because of the immunity ruling a little while ago. The corruption's catching up in real time. Finally, you could say the judiciary is doing their job, but they've sat on their hands for a critically long period of time. But this one, Clarence Thomas set out the...
Can I just read what he said?
Yeah, he had it in his decision in the Supreme Court. He said...
In this case, the Attorney General purported to appoint a private citizen as special counsel to prosecute a former president on behalf of the United States, said Thomas. But I am not sure that any office for the special counsel has been established by law as the Constitution requires. By requiring that Congress create federal offices by law, the Constitution imposes an important check against the president. He cannot create offices at his pleasure. By establishing, if there is no law establishing the office that the special counsel occupies, then he cannot proceed with this prosecution. A private citizen cannot criminally prosecute anyone, let alone a former president.
Let's go back to the iron law of woke projection. They accuse Trump of acting like a king. That's literally kingly behavior.
I love the part. I mean, what's so interesting is the president cannot create offices at his pleasure.
In other words, the president can't hire goons to go after his political rivals.
Exactly.
Which is what they did is basically what America fought
Although perhaps
against.
He'd be immune if he did so, if it was part of the official acts of the office.
But it is amazing. It was raised in an amicus, the argument that Jack Smith was unlawfully appointed. Mm-hmm. Clarence Thomas set out the framework for any further ruling on that. And Eileen Cannon, the only judge doing her job in this, it's amazing. It was predictable. It's fascinating. And now they're going to call for the impeachment of Eileen Cannon.
Go ahead.
If these people really wanted unity, I mean, they would drop all these cases. And frankly, you can see that unity isn't really in the core of their being when they're already in meltdown, right, over this case getting dismissed. And right now, because President Trump's not in office, they're obviously going the lawfare route. But when he was in office, right, they impeached him twice. That's not very unity inspired, if you ask me.
Is it Clarence Thomas will be the judge for the appeal? Or how does that work? You're Canadian, but maybe
no. Clarence Thomas, it would have to get up back to the Supreme Court. This will go to the Fifth Circuit or 11th
Well, you mean
Circuit.
unless AOC wins her impeachment?
Each justice controls certain regions.
Oh, I would not. I would have to defer to my bigger brain, Robert Barnes, on that one.
I don't know about that one either.
So this is the argument the left has for packing the court is that I think what are there 13 different.
Hasn't it been Pelosi was saying that too?
But we only have 9 justices, and it's because we never added more after the fact, and so some have more than one.
Tim,
Oh, is that why we have 9 districts? Is that what that is? Like the 10th?
there's like 13,
more
I think.
circuits.
Tim's going to get in trouble. It's not packing the court anymore. It's expanding the
Right.
court because packing is unconstitutional. Expanding is constitutionally required.
It also is
that was the argument
easier
they
to
made.
explain. Interesting.
And so I'm not sure how it works, but something to the effect of like each justice has like oversees a certain district for when appeals are filed. And someone said Clarence Thomas is in this jurisdiction.
I'm trying to pull up the jurisdictions right now, but you're right. I mean, it's divided, and that's why occasionally you'll see, Alito has stopped this thing. This person has signed off on whatever. It would be funny if it was Clarence Thomas.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.